You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday. Make that Wednesday. 10th day of December, 2025. Thanks for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, just glad to have you right here, right now. 2 live broadcasts every trading day. First broadcast is our live training room. That one's private. You have to be either one of our traders or taking our 1-week free trial to get in there. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody everywhere on planet Earth, internet-connected device. Now, if you haven't taken your 1-week free trial, Michael joins us in about an hour. He will walk you through step by step how to take the trial. It'll take 3 minutes of your time to get signed up. Get your indicators up and indicating today. The trial will officially start tomorrow and will run all the way through next Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern. In other words, you get 5 consecutive trading days and the weekend does not count against you. No credit card required. Once you're focused on what's being taught so that at the end of the trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision as to whether or not trading is right for you. Take the trial or getting access to the live training room, just 2 hours every trading day, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern, but you're also getting access to everything we do the other 22 hours of the day. See, we trade primarily futures. Now, our strategy, our indicators work on any market, any time frame. Our focus is on futures. But if you trade stocks, tune in. Forex, crypto, ETFs, strategy, the indicators will work exactly the same without changing a thing. No matter what market you put it, no matter what time frame you got to see it to believe it, and that's what we want you to do. We want you to come see it so that you do believe it, because you actually watched it, saw it, experienced it. We're going to treat you just like you were already a member. 5 trading days. Again, so that at the end of the trial, you can make a well-informed, intelligent decision whether or not trading is right for you. And I'll be honest, it's not for everybody. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, break and come back for this broadcast, the noon broadcast, which, as I already said, is open to the public. There's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. Best way, just go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down the page to where it says noon broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, done. What happens going forward is every trading day you get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. Email, there's a link, 12 noon Eastern. All you have to do is click the link in the email and it automatically logs you into our platform. Benefit there, you have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, but you still want to join live. Some days you'll be busy, so you can join live, but you want to get caught up later. You do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFR. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,900 daily episodes archived for your educational pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who you really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. You can literally see how we've evolved over the years, day by day. Now, obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to. It's a tremendous resource to have at your fingertips. And again, you'll get to know. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. So we're going to dive right into our daily devotional. Topic we're on right now, anxious for nothing. We're on day 5 of 7. Today's scripture is Matthew 11:28 through 30, and I'm going to share it with you from the Message translation. Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly. Again, that was Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30 from the Message translation. You ever feel guilty being a Christian who isn't anxious for nothing? Does having anxiety give you more anxiety because you feel you're not supposed to be anxious? Lori was in the same boat until she discovered one thing that changed everything. So I'm going to share with you right now Lori's story. Lori writes, my marriage was in shambles. I was shouldering all of the responsibility of raising 3 kids, 2 of them teenagers, all on my own. Working, cooking, cleaning, carpooling, fencing, financing, supporting, loving, providing. It was all on me. My anxiety was through the roof, and I didn't know what to do about it. I was trying everything I could think of. Counseling, meditation, music, exercise, reciting scriptures, you name it. Nothing seemed to take it away. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely helping to do these things. I learned to use the tools I needed to get myself centered on Christ again. But I was still struggling. Looking back, one thing I realized I wasn't trying was not trying. Air quotes here on the not trying part. Search scripture, you'll find a ton of verses about worry. I know because I was looking for a magic formula to help me conquer it once and for all. In my search, I found something unexpected. You have to pay attention to see it. But in these verses, there are some implicit instructions from our Father. Nothing. Seriously, nothing. In Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you weary and burdened, and I will rest." He is doing the work here, not us. Just have to come to him. In John 14:27, he says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." Are you sensing a theme? He's giving us peace. He's giving us rest. Do nothing except him. Again, in Matthew 6:25, this famous passage tells us not to worry. For God even clothes the grass of the field. So how much more will he take care of us? Told to seek first his kingdom, and all these things will be given to us. That's right. Did you catch that? Given. God is a giver. Has the answers. And he has our back. Some things we just can't do ourselves. That's exactly how he designed it. Us to need him. All of those things I worried about, one way or the other. It wasn't until I took a breath, rested, truly came to Jesus, got quiet, let go of all the details, told God I trusted him completely, and then learned to do nothing. That's when I finally found peace. Ultimately, my prayers became less about my situation, more about my trust in him. If you need to do the same, I highly encourage you to rest in him. You can trust him. Or he goes on to say, here's what I pray when I'm feeling overwhelmed by anxiety again. Let's all pray. Dear Lord, I come to you today to ask for help. You are my everything, Lord. I need rest. I give you my... Take it, Lord. I accept your peace, love, and understanding. Help me to turn to you and not to myself. Help me to stop doing and start trusting. Help me to wait on your answers, because I know that they are good. Wisdom, hope, peace. Thank you, Lord, for patience and grace. I love you, and I know you love me so much more than I could ever. Thank you, Lord, for sharing that story. Let's go to the numbers from our start here in the US cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Now the big news of the day, of course, it's Fed Day, FOMC, at 2 p.m. Eastern. Get the announcement. Point rate cut or not. Now, it's kind of baked into the cake. Survey of Wall Street analysts have it at about 90% that Jerome will give us a quarter point rate today. But with Jerome, you never know. So we'll see what happens. So whatever the announcement is. Now, if we don't get the quarter point rate cut, you're going to see some fireworks right away. And even if we do get the rate cut that's baked into the cake, there will be some fireworks. No fireworks will come at 2:30 p.m. Eastern today. That's when Jerome will deliver his prepared statement and then take questions from the audience. And that's when it can get wild. As he begins to answer questions not about the current rate cut or not or whatever, but what his plans are for next year. Now keep in mind, end of March, it's March, maybe it's May, he's out of there. His term has expired. So he wants history to remember him well. He should surprise us today with a half point. But based on the grudge match between Trump, I wouldn't count on it. So again, 2 p.m. Eastern, Fed announcement, FOMC announcement. 2:30 press conference, statement and questions from the audience. That's when the markets get wild. Now, starting in the U.S. with the cash markets or the indices, Dow's up 203. NASDAQ is down 66. S&P 500 is up 2. Russell 2000 is up 10. The commodity basket, crude oil, down 19 cents, trading 58.06 last. Gold down $6, $4,200.20 last. Silver up 42 cents, trading 61.26 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei dropped 50 points, Shanghai dropped 9, Hang Seng gained 106. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 13, DAX down 2, CAC down 9. So we had a mixed day in Asia, mixed day for the UK, and at the moment it is a mixed Radio Wednesday Fed Day of A. Got 3 of the major indices in the green. Now, not by a lot. Granted, the Dow is up 200 points, but okay, we'll call that definitely in the green. It's almost half of 1%. And the Nasdaq's only negative by 61 points. That's not much. That's just, that could change in the next 5 minutes. The S&P 500 is positive by 2 points. That could slip into the red in the next 5 minutes. Or not. And the Russell 2000 is positive by 9 points. Again, the mixed markets, which, you know, on Fed Day, for introspection and just kind of watching what happens. Tomorrow we pick up pieces and move forward from. All right. Got the numbers from around the world, so let's go to the news. By the way, our hearts and prayers are with the folks in Japan, dealing with a massive earthquake there, potential tsunami, and they are calling it a mega quake, which the earthquake they just had was like 7 point something. They think another one may be coming, 8 point something. Now, 8 point something on the Richter scale is enough to destroy every tall building. So, keep the folks in Japan. Australia's nationwide ban on social media children under the age of 16 takes effect today, making it the first country to prohibit underage users from major platforms. Millions of accounts are expected to be affected as companies such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, and X face fines of up to $33 million for serious or repeated noncompliance. The law places responsibility on companies rather than families, and platforms must demonstrate they have taken reasonable steps, such as age checks and the removal of suspected underage accounts. Countries have taken similar steps, such as strict youth modes or time limits. The measure is cast as a child protection and mental health safeguard, citing research showing that 96% of 10 to 15-year-olds use social media, many encountering harmful content, grooming, or cyberbullying. Critics say the law is difficult to enforce and may push teens onto harder to monitor platforms and poses privacy risks. I know we talked about this yesterday. On the news, they explained how to beat the system. One kid said he just held up, on his laptop, he just held up a photograph of his mother in front of the camera. That passed the sniff test. So, this summer, Congress will be, sure, calling together all the heads of all the social media platforms and asking them, is there any way we can really enforce this? I'm going to say, now here's an idea, perhaps a bit futuristic. We're already talking about Trump's talking about every new child born in America, give them $1,000, put it in like an index fund, which, as we know, the indices always go higher. Yeah, there's sell-offs, backs, corrections. Time, they always go higher. So what if also took that child's fingerprint? Now, I haven't done any research on this. I don't know if there's some point in a human life fingerprint finally reaches completion, or if it's complete. I don't know. But what if, along with giving each child $1,000, so took the, because for modern computers today, and I think you're going to pretty soon start seeing this on all new computers, there's going to be a biometric type of scan. And the simplest will be when you walk up to your computer, instead of having to log in and do all that stuff, you just put your thumb on the little pad, and it logs it right in. Because every human fingerprint is unique, right? So now, if we started doing that tomorrow, it would take a number of years before it would have any potential effect. And it would require that computer makers include a fingerprint scanner, and the government say, all right, 3 years, sell it in the US, it's got to have a fingerprint scanner. And then without the fingerprint scan, you can't get into the TikToks and the Facebooks of the world. I don't know, just an idea. Just popped in my head. Knew you'd want to know. Newly discovered materials from Pompeii confirm how the Romans formulated concrete for long-lasting structural masterpieces. Architect Vitruvius described the Romans' building process nearly 2,100 years ago in De Architectura, first known book on architectural, suggesting they mixed a water-lime paste with other ingredients to produce. But a 2023 paper challenged this order. Researcher Admir Masick analyzed samples of a roughly 2,500-year-old city wall in Brno, Italy, found Romans using a hot mixing process, first mixing dry ingredients including lime fragments and volcanic ash, and adding water. The approach released heat, allowing lime pieces to expand and fill gaps as cracks form. Now, analysis of a newly discovered site in Pompeii confirms Masick's theory using additional samples and a dry raw materials pile. Masick has co-founded a company that aims to commercialize self-healing cement. DMAT, I guess that's the symbol, recently raised $4.5 million in a round led by Italy's Primo Capital SG in Wall Street. Investors are betting the Federal Reserve will lower interest rates today for the time this year. There could be division within the central bank over the decision. The decision will not be unanimous and is likely to feature dissents in both hawkish and dovish direction. Those are the thoughts of Deutsche Bank's chief U.S. economist, Matt Luzetti. Where there might be more consensus on signals that most of the rate cuts are finished for now, today's decision could draw dissents on both sides, from 1 to as many as 5 central banks. Boston Fed President Susan Collins, Kansas City Fed's Jeff Schmid, Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee, St. Louis Fed President Alberto Willem have all voiced concerns about inflation, and any of them could oppose a rate cut. At the last meeting, Schmid dissented because he preferred to hold rates steady, arguing that cutting rates further could boost already solid demand in the economy, potentially igniting inflation. That is the most ignorant, stupid thing I think I've ever heard or read on this program. On the flip side, Fed Governor Stephen Moran has been vocal that he does not see any inflation from tariffs and expects housing prices to come down, bringing down overall inflation measures. He has repeatedly dissented in favor of cutting by larger increments of 50 basis points and is expected to do so again. Haven't been 5 dissents against a policy decision since May of 1983. Paul Volcker was chair of the central bank. He had mortgage rates at 18%. Remember that, guys? Wells Fargo is the latest Wall Street firm to outline another bullish outlook for the S&P 500 next year. Darryl Cronk, President and Chief Investment Officer, Wells Fargo Investment Institute, said yesterday, that the firm sees the benchmark index reaching 7,400 to 7,600 in the year ahead, implying as much as an 11% gain. This rise bolstered by a combination of consumer spending, AI investment, and deregulation. Spin the clock forward to this time next year, 2026, actually think returns are going to be solid when we close the books, but we think the path won't be smooth. Index closed yesterday at 68.40. Bring up the charts in a minute. We'll see where it is right now. Wells Fargo Outlook adds to what's been a positive string of outlooks for the S&P 500 heading into 2026. Forecast ranging from 7,100 to 8,000. The S&P is currently up 16% this year, on track for its third straight double-digit percentage gain after logging gains north of 20% in about both 2023 and 2020. Should these gains hold, mark the sixth time in the last 7 years the S&P 500 gained at least 15% in a year. 4 of those annual rises coming in above 10%. Now, anyone who knows anything about the markets knows that the average return over the years since the creation of the S&P 500 index is about 8%. Is the market outperforming, or is it the greatest head fake of all time? Think about that. Now, this is interesting. Americans' credit card balances in 2026 are expected to increase by the smallest annual amount since 2013. That's 13 years. Excluding the first year of the pandemic, when relief programs helped consumers avoid greater financial pain, according to a new report from TransUnion Credit Report Agency. How can that be when prices are rising and consumers report feeling awful about the economy? Credit card balances are far higher than where they were several years ago, but yearly growth is cooling from the massive spikes seen in 2022 and 2023. Increases of 18.5% and 12.6% respectively. Next year is expected to see annual growth of 2.3%. Balances hitting $1.18 trillion. Following the rush of post-pandemic spending, lenders became more cautious about extending credit access. I don't know if you've looked at the credit card rates. I remember a time when everybody carried a balance on their credit. Of course, smart people would tell you don't do that. Use your card, pay it in full at the end of the day. And that is the right thing to do. But a lot of people used to carry a balance. When I was a young man, I didn't know any better. I carried a balance and made the minimum payment. And of course, that landed me in some financial troubles. I'm talking in my early 20s. Then I hit the lottery, paid it all off, swore to never do it again. Took a vacation to Mexico, came back home, and guess what I did? Did it all over again. How stupid can you be? Anyway, true story. Bucking trends and spitting out confusing, counterintuitive outcomes have been the hallmarks of the COVID economy in post-pandemic years. Resilience of the American consumer is probably the most well-known example. Bond markets reacting to a global realignment on trade, rattled by uncertain expectations of American governance, have introduced another puzzling inconsistency. Why are bond yields rising as the Fed cuts rates? Last September, the U.S. Central Bank started easing rates with a sizable pause through most of 2025, peeling back a total of 1.5 percentage points. This afternoon, the Fed is widely expected to reduce rates by another 1/4 point as part of a monetary campaign to shift policy from a restrictive stance to a more. Traders are pricing in another 2 cuts in 2026. Big ones. That is what is paralyzing this economy right now. We could be so far ahead if the Fed would just lower interest rates. But the wealthy families that own the Federal Reserve, hey, they're collecting interest payments on $37 trillion in debt. It's hard to shut off. I hope you saw this last night or yesterday afternoon, whenever it aired initially. The first stop of President Donald Trump's affordability tour. He said making America affordable is his highest priority, while again calling the term a Democrat hoax. I have no higher priority than making America affordable again, Trump said. That's what we're going to do. And again, Democrats cause the higher prices, and we're in them down. Trump held a rally in Mount Pocono, which I watched, which is in Pennsylvania, a swing district. It was the first of many domestic trips planned to tout Republicans' affordability agenda ahead of the midterms. Trump said White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles told him it's time to start campaigning again. I won, he said. What do I have to do already? They said we have to win the midterms, and you're the guy that's going to take us over the top. Trump said Democrats give America high prices and the highest inflation in history. It's true. Paying $4 or $5 a gallon for gas. Inflation was at 9%. The highest. Back then they said it was the highest in 40 years, but really it's the highest in history. Trump says we're bringing those prices down rapidly. Lower prices, paychecks, getting lower prices, bigger paychecks. We're getting inflation. We're crushing it. And you're getting much higher wages. I mean, the only thing that's really going up big, it's called the stock market. Judge has ruled. Congress passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act on November 18th, and Trump signed the bill into law on November 19th. Identifying information regarding Epstein's accusers will be protected. In an interview with the Justice Department, Ghislaine Maxwell said she never saw Trump in an inappropriate setting. She was later transferred to a minimum security prison in Texas. You see what they're trying to do there? Epstein accusers have long pushed for the files to be released, and some have already shared their stories. In her posthumously published memoir, Virginia Giuffre recounted an encounter with then Prince Andrew. She said had sex with her when she was underage. And as we know, Prince Andrew has been taken off the royal website, had to move out of the manor that he was. Following increased scrutiny, Andrew was stripped of his title and evicted from residence by his brother, King Charles. It's still not clear, though, when the DOJ plans to release the files. Good gracious. Just get them. I'm tired of hearing about it, right? U.S. Customs and Border Protection filed a proposal yesterday that would require travelers coming to the U.S. without visas to provide their social media history for the last 5 years. The department is adding social media as a mandatory data element for travelers applying entry into the country under the Electronic System for Travel Authorization, ESTA. An approved ESTA allows citizens from 42 countries to travel to the U.S. for up to 90 days without a visa. Some of the countries eligible for ESTA include the United Kingdom, Germany, South Korea, and Chile. ESTA application currently costs $40. Once approved, it's valid for 2 years or until your passport expires. In addition to the social media check, proposal notes, CBP is adding several high-value data fields to ESTA application. Data requests would include telephone numbers used in the last 5 years, email addresses used in the last 10 years, as well as names and birthdays of family members. Applicants would also be required to provide biometric data, including face, fingerprint, DNA, and iris. Talk about locking the barn door after the horse gets out. All right, let's go local. Logic 247, 24/7, around the clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude gold and silver. We're currently in week 384. Over the last 384 weeks, we've issued over 21,100 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on simple market structure, a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. So far this week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, issued a total of 31 logic alerts. At the time Valerie did the recap this morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, we're still waiting on the outcome of 5. That gave us 26 actionable alerts. 3 or 12% would have been stopped out based on simple market structure, a simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and then additional targets and a final trade to target. Now, the real purpose of the logic alerts is to teach you how to read a chart. If you want to trade for a living, you need to learn how to read a chart, and part of reading a chart means knowing where to anticipate resistance and where to anticipate support ahead of time. Are you going to be right 100% of the time? No. Worked our butt off for over 7 years, 384 weeks. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less getting stopped out. What that means is, yeah, we can read the chart and we know where to anticipate potential support and potential resistance, but 20% of the time or less, the market just does something completely opposite what we anticipate. Now, are we constantly working to try to reach that edge? No, not at all. I've seen great traders who had a great edge in the market, and as they endeavored to put an edge on their edge and then an edge on that edge, pretty soon they have no edge at all. They go from being profitable on a consistent basis to losing money on a daily basis. There is no 100% holy grail. It cannot exist. It defies the laws of science, physics, even God. So stop. Stop it. Accept the fact that getting stopped out is as much a part of trading as breathing is a part of. You'll sleep better and make money. Now, 384 weeks is a very long time, 7 years. Years before Logic 247 was birthed, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, and we still do. Now, they're different in a lot of different ways, but the purpose of this discussion, I'll say that they are posted 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open each evening, typically 5:55 p.m. Eastern. See, This Wednesday session that we're in right now, it began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Thursday session began tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday session we're in end at 5 p.m. Eastern. Hour break each day. Sweep the floor with the ashtrays. Market reopens at 6 p.m. Eastern an hour later. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. So the Thursday session begins tonight, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And God willing, all of our members will have the targets 5 minutes before the open, just like they did last night. The S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, and silver. Logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock. It's called Logic 247. Everything's based on logic. It can come out anytime around the clock. Very clever when I name. So, the major difference, well, there's just so many differences. Purpose, again, of this discussion. Just know that the logic alerts can come out at any time. I can put one out right now. CTAs come out, static report, the entire session, 5 minutes ahead of the open. Okay? And all are covered. All right. Let's get over to the chart of the S&P 500 mini futures, the daily chart. Now, if you haven't been tuning in every day, you're probably wondering, what are all these lines about? Well, I've drawn a line. I did this last Thursday night in the members only workshop. See right here where the black step line crossed blue and climbing? I put a vertical. That's a signal. Price is going to retrace to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it BBC. It stands for bull bear. Price is above the green line, we're bullish, expecting high prices. When price is below the green line, we're bearish, expecting prices. Back above the green line, higher prices. Now, right here, we just had it happen. Black step line, crossed blue and climbing. Now it works in the other direction too. See down here, black step line crossed red and falling. What did price do? Trace to the BBC. Now the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. This was a 6-day pullback that held. Eventually price will trade through. I mean, I could show you all the way back to April 20, single pullback until this one, 7th. And again, so price travels in legs, leg retracement, 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 leg. Or have things changed? What if we look at it this way? Leg retracement, leg retracement, and now we get a leg to the downside. Got a double bottom end down here around 65.52. I just read you what the analysts on Wall Street are saying. It's just going to keep higher forever. I disagree, but that's okay. We have a doji on the day with a slightly bullish bias. Now you'll notice that the high of the session is at the black step line. Black step line gets directly above price, it can serve as potential resistance. And if price were to somehow trade through black step line, when climbing is directly above price, so that would be potential resistance. Now, when climbing lines right up with this high right here. See that? This high this high, and that's where basically a triple top across there. But with the day being Fed day, we're going to run up, we're going to run down. Dust settles, see where we are. It's going to be an interesting afternoon. All alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Magic about 30 minutes is just the time frame I've used for many years. If it's not broke, they say. The vertical line separates today. Here's Tuesday. Price drops to a weekly trading zone. We expect support. Price rallies up to a weekly trading zone. We expect resistance to prove. Drops to a weekly zone. Support, 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 support. Get the idea. This was the opening candle last night. Now remember, these targets that you see drawn on, our members had them 5 minutes ahead of the Globex open, which was this candle here. On the way down, the step line in red and falling were running parallel. Step line crossed. That means a retracement to the BC. Then as we attempted a leg down, we ran into timing, which is bullish. Falling bearish, blue and bearish. That took us right up to the weekly trading zone at 68.58/59. Weekly trading zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern for the last 16 years. In a couple days will be our 16th year anniversary. 16th. Then I can say 16 years. Once they're published Monday morning, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. Now, you got to admit, going Monday morning, we are Wednesday. Resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support. It's pretty handy information. So we hit the zone, which, as you can see, there happened to be a bearish cross. That's when the red line gets below the green. When you have a bearish cross that leads to an extended move, first time price revisits that area, right where it crossed, will almost always be good resistance. So we had two reasons for this to be resistance: cross and the zone itself. That resistance sent us down to the BBC, back held, ran up to the zone again, and it's come undone. Down we go in one 30-minute candle all the way to the short target. And then we hit the zone. Support bounces us up to the BBC, resistance, sends us back down to the short target support, which bounces us back up to almost the zone, but we didn't quite get there. It's a kind of a sign of weakness. So then down we go. Support. Now we found resistance here. Okay. It's not an area where I would have anticipated resistance. Here, yes. Here, yes. Here, yes. But sometimes the market does something other than what I think it's going to do. Percent of the time, or less based on the last 21,100 plus alerts. So down we go to the zone for support, and now we're approaching the zone, which has been resistance. Now yesterday it was all about support. Today it's been all about resistance so far. If we can break through this area, through the zone, which is 68.58/59, if we can break through that, we got potential resistance right here at 68.62, and then at the zone itself, or at the target, 68.64, which is based off right there where we turned to red. Short target is based off turn to blue. On the Dow. This was the open last night, and up to the BBC, consolidated, a drop, leg, retracement, sideways. We hit the zone again. So we hit it twice. These are the zones that were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. That resistance sent us all the way down to the target, pretty much to the tick. Low 504, yeah, so we missed it by 4 ticks. So support's going to send the market looking for resistance. That run. Now, long target was based off this bearish cross. Remember, red line gets below the green line, that's a bearish cross. First time price revisits that area, must always be resistance. And see what happened? See this candle, okay, it opened here. Then it ran all the way down to the zone support. Then it ran all the way up to this bearish cross. Then it closed here. The next attempt, we pushed through the long target, consolidated at the zone. Only one of 3 things happens when price encounters a weekly zone. 70% of the time will be this consolidation. 20% of the time rejection. 10% of the time slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. That happens, like it did here, price will typically retrace to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. So far, that continuation hasn't happened. And notice the black step line starting to lean to the right, which means they have a retracement coming back to the BTC. The Russell. The open last night, we're below the BBC. Then red falling gets below price, and when it does, it becomes support, sending us up to the resistance at the BBC, which sends us down to blue and climbing, support, back to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, then break through the zone, take it all the way to the short target. Again, not an area that I would have called for support. Perhaps here, where I did. So, and the zones right here, 2517/18. Got relatively close, 519.7. Then we get above the BBC, we get a leg, a retracement, spike the zone, pull back to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not. I mean, you see it right there. Sends us all the way up to the long target. Stuff that right. Spiked it a couple times, and we're still above the BBC. We still have blue and climbing. Step line has gotten directly above blue and climbing. Consolidate one more candle. I have the step line cross blue and climbing. As that happens, we'll expect price to return to the BBC. Okay, we'll pick up with the NQ, which is gone. Zone session yesterday, same thing. But this is what it looks like heading into a Fed announcement. 2 days of kind of sideways action. Pick up with the NQ when I come back. Michael's here. He's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room, and then do some live trading as time permits. And then I'll come back and finish the recap, wrap up with today, in time for you to be to your screens, mouse in the drawer.
Yes, that's what you need. You need to be glued to your screens.
Mouse in the drawer.
Yes, with the mouse in the drawer, especially with the mouse in the drawer. Yes, till 2:45 probably. Leave that mouse in the drawer. All right.
Looks good.
All right, excellent. Here we go then. Oh man, it's correct. That's correct. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 10th day of December, 2025. So, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go here to mytradingIQ.com, click on the purple button right here. Once you click on that purple button, you will be sent to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. Down here at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. Right? If you give us your TradingView login ID there, we'll be able to get your indicators indicating on your desktop for you. So do that. Once you do that, then you'll be able to start placing some trades, learning how to place trades. The spreadsheet, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 10th day of December, as I said. Today we had a pretty good day overall. Gold was our big winner today. But on the NQ, we're up 98 ticks. We're break even. No, 98 was the high of the day. We're break even on the YM. The high of the day on the YM was 1 tick, so we're 1 tick away from the high of the day there. We're 81 ticks on gold. That was the high of the day, and 18 ticks on the ES. That was also the high of the day. Now, that puts us at $1,525 with one contract this morning. All right. Today it took 7 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $3,050, and we took a total of 45 trades. So, with 5 stop outs. So 88% of our trades again today were break even or better. Right, on the month now we're at $9,897. That is with one contract over 8 trading days, averaging $1,237 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year, we're now at $263,355. That's over 212 trading days, averaging $1,242 per session, per morning session, so far on the whole year. Now, following the 2420 blueprint, all these numbers are fixed from yesterday and from the whole year. You'll note that we don't have that column in here anymore, and we don't have a column in here anymore. That turned out to be extraneous data. So everything is looking like it should right now. And the good news is that all these numbers and all these numbers and all these numbers and all these numbers down here were correct. All these numbers up here were correct. It was the numbers in this column alone that were not right. So we weren't using that column. I deleted it. Following the 2420 blueprint, so far this year you would have worked 29.5 hours just about. You'd be up $217,254 with now you'd be at 12 contracts. All right, see that number right there? 12. Right here, 12. You'd be at 12 contracts right now. And if you quit trading when you got the goal for the day and did everything exactly like I so far this year, you'd be up $217,254 right now. Be averaging $7,377 per hour. $7,377 per hour on the year. All right, so yeah, that's all that stuff. So we have, let's go into the actual trades, okay? The trades that we took today. Gold was our big winner today, and all the trades we took on gold were positive. Our very first trade, this is where we got the goal for the day on this trade right here. We got 30 profit on that trade right there alone. And then, actually, no, I am wrong. Not every one of our trades was profitable on gold today. Our very next trade we stopped out on. I don't know where I put it, but the very next trade we took on gold we stopped out on. I don't know where that was exactly. I don't know where it was, but the very next trade on gold we stopped out on. And so that brought us from 30 down to 15. And then we got 3 more there to go to 18. Actually, did we stop out twice? Just once. Then we went to 18. Then we went to 20, 21, 29, 30, 40. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm not at the beginning. Okay. All right, there. That's better. I was wondering what the heck. All right, so we started out right here. This is where we got our goal for the day. Sorry about that. I thought I had gone back all the way. this is where we got our goal for the day. We picked up 30 ticks there, and this is where we stopped up the very next trade. So after this one, we're at 15. Then we went to 18, then 20, then 21, 29. Then we had 18, 20, 21, 29. Then we had a couple of break-even trades. Then we went from 29 to 30, then 30 to 40, and this is where we wrapped it up in here. 40 to 43, 43 to 44, 44 to 54, 54 to 61, 61 to 64, 64 to 71, and 71 to 81 is how we ended up. So I think there's a couple of arrows missing in there, but those were the trades that we ended up taking on gold. Now, during the break, this was not a valid trade here because this one didn't go full cycle. This was not a trade here because it didn't come off the midpoint. This was a trade right here. That would have been a good one on gold right there. This would have been a trade here, would have stopped out. That would have stopped out. And that would have been a break even. Those were the trades. So it would have been 2 stop outs. I think 1 really good trade. 2 stop outs and a break even during the break. That was gold today. Now the YM, let me do this so I do actually go back to the beginning on the YM. All right. Now the YM was the very first trade of the day. We took this one right here for 1 tick. And that was the high of the day on the YM. That. Oh, hey. That was the high of the day on the YM right there. Okay. Bart, you sent me the phone call. It just went through. You did it this time. Okay. That was the high of the day on the YM. We were plus 1 tick there. And then here we stopped out. That put us at minus 14. And then we're coming back from that the rest of the session. We went, well, we stopped out again after that. But we're at minus 14, then we picked up 5 to get us to minus 9. Then 1 to get us to minus 8. Then we stopped out again to minus 23. We picked up 1 to minus 22. Then picked up 7 ticks here. Now this one wasn't off the midpoint. That's why it's the wrong color blue. We picked up 7 ticks there to get us to minus 15. 10 there to get us to minus 5. And somewhere we had 1 more trade to get us to 0. I don't know where that last trade was, but we had 1 more trade to go from minus 5 to 0. And Bart, this time I saw it come through on my phone. Okay. I saw one thing go through on my phone. Anyway, so he saved me the phone call. That is good because my afternoon is really packed. We had right here, this would have been a long trade that would have stopped out on the YM. This would have been a break even. Nothing in the red. This would have been a stop out. I think. Was it at the midpoint? No, but it was below the midpoint. It wouldn't have been. This would have been a DCCCC there. That would have been one right there. That might have gotten you stopped to break even, depending on your entry. And that's it. So not a lot of really good trading there during the break. Okay, on the YM or the gold for that matter. It is FOMC today, so gotta keep that in mind. Now the ES we did okay on. I don't see any stop outs in there on the ES, but we didn't have that many trades either. This is our whole day right here on the ES. Our first trade on the ES was right here. We picked up 4 ticks on that. Now I have that the wrong color blue because it wasn't flat on the bar before it. Right there. I was, at the time, I had my order waiting on this bar right here for the down close of that bar, and then something else happened, and I was in another trade, and I left that one on, and it traded me in right there. That's why that color blue is like that. But we picked up 4 ticks on that. We picked up 4 more ticks there to get us to 8. Then that doesn't make sense. We picked up 1 to go to 9, though it says some odd number. We picked up 1 to go to 9, then 1 to go to 10, and then 1 more somewhere to go to 18. I don't know where it was. The 8-tick trade was in here somewhere. We went from 10 to 18. During the break, not a lot happening. This is the whole break from right here to right here. Really sideways action. There was a trade right there that would have been okay. And nothing there. And nothing there. And that was it on the ES. All right, to the NQ now. We'll go back to the beginning. Gold. Gold had the most trades today. The NQ had the second most. Excuse me. All the way back to the beginning here. All right. So here is what we want. This one right here was our first trade. And let's see. This is the NQ. We picked up 4 ticks. No, I'm sorry. Picked up 45 ticks on that. We have 45 ticks on the very first trade on the NQ. Then we didn't trade again for a while. Picked up 4 more here to get us 49. Then 4 more there. That is blue because I didn't come out of the overbought on that one. We went to 53. Then went to 57. Then we stopped out down to 32. We went up to 39. Then we stopped out again down to 14. And then we went to 34 and 46. And this one, it didn't come off a flat midpoint right here. That's why that's a different color blue. But we went from 46 to 66. So we picked up 20 ticks on that. Then went from 66 up to 70. Then 70 to 82. And 82 to 90. And there was one more trade. We went from 90 to 98 at the end of the session in here somewhere. I don't know where. 90 to 98. I don't know where I was. But that's how we wrapped it up for the NQ. Now, during the break on the NQ, looks like there was a trade here. No, I'm sorry, that was a green background. There was a trade here that would have been a break even. I mean, it went down and all, but it would have been a break even. A trade there that probably would have stopped me out. A trade there, I think that's too high. Yeah, it is too high. That wouldn't have been a trade. Trade here that would have been a break even. Nothing there. And nothing else in here. So during the break, the markets were not very giving, and I don't expect in the next 16 minutes that they will be either. But we're going to do what we can and place whatever trades we get. Right, the ES is about to give a long trade. It currently has a low right here of 55.75, so we'll be buying 57.75, just like that. Okay, just like that on the ES. That is a valid trade. The NQ is going in the opposite direction over here. It's almost given a short trade. We need an up close on this bar and then a down close on the one after it. I have a short trade on the NQ. Okay, for anybody coming in right now, if you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. No credit card required. Just click on that purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. On this page, just fill out the form at the bottom. Down here at the bottom, I'm sorry, fill out the whole form, but down at the bottom, make sure you give us your TradingView login ID. All right, give us your TradingView login ID so we can set your charts up for you. Today, so far, we finished the morning session up $1,525. Okay, let's get back in here and make sure that the bottom is still where it was, 55.75. So that is still correct. YM didn't give anything. YM needed a down close seat into the oversold. We're almost there on these. YM needed a down close seat into the oversold. The gold actually had to trade a minute ago. You could still jump on the gold because it hasn't gone any into profit yet. Though it's not a really pretty looking trade over there. The NQ still needs an up close followed by a down close. The ES, we're still waiting for just the up close. Well, that gets you all back on track, Bart. Okay. I think I didn't look to see what came in on the other TIQ one, but I think if what I saw come through over there was correct, then I don't know what to tell you. No, you didn't do that one. You only did one of them. You didn't do the other one. Looks like. I'll check it out later. Okay, I'll check it out in a little while. Right now, it's not the best time for me to look at that. And I have a trade developing here. The low, this is now 25, so this is going to go down to 25. Okay, we didn't end up with a trade over here on the NQ. And now the low's at 55 even. Low's at 54.50. All right, so we're just waiting. Just waiting. No trade here, no trade here. Waiting on the ES to give us a trade. The NQ needs to pull back, get up to the midpoint, and give us a down close. So we're pretty close to trades on these two markets. YM needs a down close followed by an immediate up close. If this gets below 54.50 like it just did, then it's too low. It's not going to be a trade. So we don't have a trade on the ES. We don't have a trade on the ES, and the NQ now, it's so far away from the midpoint. It's going to take, well, it's going to take two up closes to get into the overbought anyway. Everything's just moving away from a possible trade here right now.
Remember that stock I mentioned the other day, or it's been a couple of weeks now, iHeart Radio, IHRT?
Yes.
It's up about 25% since I gave it to audience. It was around $3 when I first mentioned it, maybe $3. It's up about since then.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That is good stuff.
Remember, guys, once it pushes over $5, then brokers can recommend it to their clients. But firms won't allow to recommend stocks trading under $5. They consider anything under $5 penny stocks. So I just think it really blow up. I just don't know. The last research I did, the negotiations with Netflix, they were stalled. So I'm waiting to see But I got a feeling things must be looking stock all of a sudden rising as much as it has, as quickly
Well,
as.
there's a bunch of things going on between Netflix, Paramount,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's another one in there too. Warner Brothers.
Skydance, Discover.
Yeah, there's a hostile takeover
CNN,
right now.
it's a hostile takeover bid, yeah. And CNN's part of the bunch.
Is it?
Yeah, what they wanted to do is they wanted to spin CNN off as its own separate company. Hostile takeover says no, CNN too.
And that's Ellison that's driving that, right? Larry Ellison, I think. Driving the hostile takeover.
Could be. Shared the article a couple days ago with the audience. I forget now exact details. That iHeart's going to pop. So that's just my opinion. Check with a licensed investment advisor.
8-1.
We're taking.
Oops, didn't mean
action.
To do that. Okay. Go to 7. All right, so we're on the H contract, and today we're on the green. Right, we're in the green right now. The volume is starting to pick up in the H contract now. It's not really dropping off so much in our contract yet, noticeably anyway, in the Z, but it's starting to pick up in the H. Being an FOMC day, you usually have lower volume, like we do over here. In the H contract, it's actually picked up better than yesterday so far. So I think we're going to see the volume start to switch between the next 2 days. Because it's rollover, FOMC and rollover this week. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, Bart, my neighbor Jason called me and he needed some help. That's why I ended up, during the break there, I ended up not being able to get in touch with you. But I was able to send you that email, as you can see, replying to it. And, well, we got the up closes that we needed here, but it didn't get anywhere near the midpoint. So now it's come out of the midpoints, reset the midpoint on the NQ. It's 123. We don't have any trades here yet. I don't know that we're going to get any the way the markets are right now. Two things that we had that were closest to giving a trade were the ES, and that's changed direction. It's going to flip to YBR. The NQ got so far away from the midpoint. The two up closes put it in the overbought, then it came right back out of the overbought, resetting the midpoint. And so now, if we got an up close on the next 2 bars, this could be too far away from the midpoint. So the chances of getting a trade there on the NQ, pretty slim. We're about to flip to YBR here on the YM. So that's not going to be something. I guess gold is the closest thing we have right now. Gold just needs an up close, and then the next bar after the up close could hit the midpoint and give a down close. That's not happening either. So 6 more minutes we wait. So this is what I said in last week's partners meeting, I think, is when I drew this. So I think it's going to go up to here and down to here and up to there. The BBC came up to meet where I drew the down part. Price never got there, but the BBC came up to meet where I drew it. I still think we got to go down and hit that BBC. We haven't done that yet. All this crazy stuff that we did, closing above it, closing full bar below it, full bar above it, full bar below it, full bar above it. It's unusual on a daily chart. But these are unusual times. How far away gold has gotten now. So 2 up closes will put it right here. Then we'll come out of the overbought, reset the midpoint. Might get a trade, we might not. The NQ is now closest to giving us a trade. ES flipped to YVR. YM flipped to YVR. So everything's in the red right now. I don't think so. But we don't really need it anymore. If they both went through, then we don't really need it. I know one went through, but I don't know what the other one. We're going to have the remote, so I could help you go through the steps to submit it. But now that you've already submitted it, you don't need to have the remote anymore. If they both went through, as you said. But I don't have evidence of that yet. I'll have to go check. I know one did, but the other one I don't know about. So we need pullbacks everywhere right now. We have 3 minutes left. We need pullbacks everywhere. We're not going to have any trades in this session. That's okay. When I fixed the thing up yesterday, I fixed it up down here too, the afternoon session results. So for the 12 days that we've traded, that I kept track of in the afternoon session, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was 12. 1, 2, 3, 6, 12 days that we traded. I only actually kept good statistics on 10 out of the 12 days, but with 10 contracts, we're averaging $997 for the 15 minutes that we have to trade. With one contract, 99.79. So that's enough to get the goal for the day in that 15-minute span. Here we are. This is not a trade on the NQ. Not a trade here, not a trade here, not a trade here. So we still have nothing. We finally got to the midpoint, but it came off it right there without touching it. So it came out of the overbought. Could still have something here. Something could develop here on the NQ now. An up close followed by an immediate down close could give us a trade on the NQ. It was the TIQ1 bar that I didn't see come through. TIQ1. All right, so we need an up close here. If we get an up close on this bar and then an immediate down close on the next bar, we'll have a trade on the NQ. Here we are. Now we need the down close. Down close on the NQ. It'll be a short. And that will be our only trade if it happens. It's now 13:29 and it didn't happen. All right, well, not yet anyway. It still could happen. Could still have a down close there on it. Now it's too far away. It's too far away. It had to be 8 or below, and now it's up to 9. That was it. Gold's almost there. Gold's just about there, but I have a bunch of stuff that I have to do this afternoon, so I can't hang around until the gold finishes up. But a down close here on gold would be a valid trade. The NQ is not, ES is not, YM is not. All right, so let's go through this really quick one more time. Ended up with any trades today. The morning session, we ended up plus $1,525. 7 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day, and 45 trades with 5 stop outs this morning for an average of 88% of our trades were break even or better this morning. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. No credit card required. It's going to bring you to the registration page right here. Just fill out all the forms. You fill out those forms, you'll be sent everything that you need to get into the room in the morning to get your indicators indicating. See, this was not a valid trade here. This was a valid trade over here on the gold. Gold worked out. Nothing else was a trade. And that's it, guys. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Bart, let me go and check and see. No. Not on the TIQ stuff anyway.
Okay. Recap of the session.
Today it took 7 minutes, I think. 7 minutes and 2 trades to get to $3,050 with 10 contracts on.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, we'll pick up where we left off. Now, we've already covered the ES and the Dow and the Russell in granular fashion. If you missed any part of today's broadcast, as soon as I sign off, you can go to .com/CFN. It's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005, but all you have to remember is youtube.com/CF. And you can view today's broadcast in its entirety. In fact, currently on our YouTube channel, there's over 2,900 daily episodes, educational and viewing. So, this was the opening candle last night, and by luck, we had a short target, which was simply based off yesterday, right here. See where red turned to blue? Get a leg, tracement, back holds, another leg that takes us not only to the long target, just shy zone. Got to 745, 75, and it's at 749. See it right above. So, these are the zones, of course, that 6:15 Eastern. Published, they're carved in stone. Change. Price drops to a weekly zone. Expect support. Price rallies up to a zone. We expect resistance. Below the BVC on the NQ. Climbing just turned to red. So, may take a trip. That doesn't look like much, but 584. 5. Let's do 586. $586. $566. It's 20 points at $20 a point. Top of the window to the bottom of the window, that's $400 per. Short target. Almost made it back. Target. Sign weakness, and down we go. Last pullback held. Now, balancing here, dancing atop the weak zone. Red and falling overhead is resistance. So, next logical move. Down to here. However, in 25 minutes, we're going to get the FOMC. Everything's going to go berserk. Throw all the rules out the window. Technical, fundamental, whatever. It's just chaos. It's Vegas. Okay? You like gambling? Well, this is your afternoon. Best advice is, I said earlier, mouse in the desk drawer. Just watch and listen. Has to say. Not that it matters. All right, crude oil trying to come back from a really rough session. This is the lowest weekly trading zone this week for crude, and it's only where we opened last night. Just hugged the BBC till about 5:30 this morning. We made a run up. Tried to get to that bearish cross, but wasn't enough strength to get there. So once we close back below the BBC, right here, this trade was just kind of a slam dunk. Now, scroll left and see what happened. Reason price start dropping here, unless it's one of those rare instances that happens 20% of the time. Yes, market just does something for a reason. So far, this pullback has held below the BBC and up. Time the 30 minutes back below the BBC. Right now, price is pinched. Step line is support because it's directly below price. BBC's resistance. Now, if price were to drop support, then it's going to run into blue and climbing, which is bullish. So, I think eventually we'll see price trade through. Now, notice that the high day, this high right here, high of the day, this high. See this bearish cross? The red line got below the green line to an extended move. First time price revisited the area of the bearish cross resistance. Such a reliable indicator. Gold flat. Now they say the metals are going to react strongly one way or the other based on the Fed announcement and how it answers questions. So it used to be back in the day, you got the FOMC announcement at 2 p.m. and that was it. No explanation, no Q&A session. This stuff's all relatively new markets. Back in the day, the FOMC acted in complete secrecy. Never tipped their hand. Sometimes they would do rate cuts or rate hikes at unexpected times. It's not even FOMC day. They would just cut rates or raise rates. They can still do that. Just haven't seen them do it. Okay. So, gold found resistance. Yeah, I mean, you can see these highs here, but you can see what I was this high as the long term. Didn't happen. Down, hit the short target. Now, this bearish cross already dealt with by these candles, so it's not an issue here. Go down to this little double bottom. You can see we spike that by a little. Okay. Buyers came in, sent us back to the BBC. The pullback held. Dropped to blue and climbing, support. Pushed us above the BBC. Now we're back below it. You see how things are just kind of tightening. And it looks like for gold, it may be a break to the downside. I'll know here. Again, that's only part of it. 30. This when the real fireworks happen. See silver dropping too. All right, so silver opened here last night. Ran up to the long target in the first 30 minutes. You only need 2 pennies to get your goal for that. So we hit resistance, which sent us back to the zone, through the target, pulled back, and the top side of the long support. It's another leg, tracement, leg, tracement, leg, tracement, and a leg. Looks like it wants to head lower. Session so far, 60. High of the session, 62.14. Price of silver moves $1. It's worth $5,000. Path of least resistance is pretty obvious. $60.73, 60.60. That's 13 pennies. 2 pennies is $100. $650 per contract. So we'll see what happens. On the daily, we still got that doji going on. Flashes red, and then it flashes green. Flashes red, and then it flashes green. It's flashing red. So we expect price to go. Price always reverts to the mean, and in our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. Okay, I know you want to become a member, so email Valerie, support@cfrn.net. Let her know you're ready to become a member. She will send you information you need to get signed up and the options available. Once you're all signed up, you're going to get 2 hours of live training. Okay. On top of that, private 101. No extra charge, you just got to ask. Strategy you learn, the indicators you have as a passport holder, good across all markets, all time. This isn't just futures, no. Exact same strategy, the exact same indicators, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs. Have to change a thing. Markets all time. How's that even possible? This price flows the same across all markets and all time. Just as I've showed you today and show you every day, from resistance back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's just how markets work. That's why the next part, Logic 247 alerts, is so important, because they'll teach you chart. They'll teach you where to expect potential resistance, where to expect potential support. Pretty soon you won't need the alerts, because you can read the chart same as I do. Concierge trade alerts you'll get every evening, typically 5 minutes ahead of the Globex Open, 5:55 Eastern. The session starts at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Thursday session will begin tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday will end at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the trading zones. They're published, changed, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Every Thursday night, you'll be able to attend the only workshop and get the goals that open all the private channels in Telegram. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof. Just email back, support@cfrn.net. wrap it up with our today. Support the weak. Acts 20:35. Remember the words of the Lord Jesus, that he said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." British Prime Minister William Gladstone was facing one of the greatest crises of his political life. He sat down one morning at 2 o'clock to write the speech he hoped would help him win a political victory in Parliament the following day. At that same hour, the mother of a dying child saw the light on in his home and knocked on his door. She asked him to come and bring a message of hope and cheer to her son. Without hesitation, Gladstone left his half-finished speech on his desk and spent the remainder of the night with the child, leading him to Christ before he died. As the morning light was breaking, back to his study and faced his own day, a smile of confidence, peace, power. He said to a friend later that morning, "The happiest man in the world today." When asked why, he replied that the previous night he had been allowed to serve a child in the name of the Master. Later that day, Gladstone made what many consider to be the greatest speech of his life. The House of Commons was won over and his cause triumphed. Two events related? Gladstone was convinced that they were. Before leaving the leaders of the church at Ephesus for the last time, Paul told them, "I have shown you in every way, by laboring like this, that you must support the weak, and remember the words of the Lord Jesus, that he said, 'It is more blessed to give than to receive.'" And that's our good word today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you. His mercy. I'll see you.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.